A more recent game here on the Finns between Ubergeek and Zlo. We got Zlo as cybran. Should be very similar to previous games on Finns we've seen. You can see now 6 PGens instead of 5 for Ubergeek. It's a little more than he needs. Perhaps he's got different plans. Speed through this early part to see if we actually really nice. So we see a very early mech marine from Ubergeek. He's gonna try to go around and go after this hydro, so that's expected. Usually NG's going to this hydro to get it pretty early on. Sometimes the ACE goes there, and that's when this move will be a failure. But now we do see multiple NGs going to the hydro. He could have already killed off this NG if he went to raid these mass spots. No raiding from Zlo at this point. We actually see 3 NGs and now a Mantis coming down to protect these 3 NGs. So second ground from Zlo is being built by the ACU. And also it looks like second air from Ubergeek. This is 3599. Now we see that was not a successful mech marine, so a good idea from Ubergeek, but a good Mantis from Zlo. Now a very aggressive NG from Ubergeek is going to try to get a mass spot on Zlo's side and then run into the water. Actually going to see multiple NGs in the water here if this NG can survive against this Mantis from Zlo. We see multiple mech marines moving into the middle spot. We actually see bombers coming out from Zlo. Very early bombers. So it looks like this bomber is going to try to take over this island. So killing civilians. We also saw that was an excellent bomber, took out 3 units. And a Mantis. Looks like lots of mech marines from Ubergeek. This is not very standard gameplay. We also see a transport and going T2. So Ubergeek playing very strangely, but this is really nice to see. See pretty much air domination from Zlo. So it might be a good idea to switch this back to making interceptors. And this NG is going to be there just in time for when this T2 point defense is killed by the bomber from Zlo. It looks like it'll be a similar situation on the other side. Of course, this NG might be getting a little too close to this T2 PD. Now a very aggressive ACU. Actually, Ubergeek's ACU is even more aggressive. Getting 2 mass spots, going to get the 3rd. Zlo is a little more methodical, still very aggressive, but has a massive force that's coming with him. We see a Jester from Zlo. T2 coming out for Ubergeek. We see a Mongoose plus a T2 engine, going to get a T2 PD. That's excellent defense against Mantis and the T1 ACU. Now Ubergeek's ACU might be in a little trouble himself, given that Jester is over his head and he's got absolutely no air. He does have T2 flags, so this is an excellent unit to get air back. We get a lot of kills, and now we see actually that transport has been finished and is going to fly over to the island that's going to perhaps be claimed by Zlo, but Ubergeek might fight him for it. In terms of map control, big problems for Ubergeek. This is a very big force from Zlo that has absolutely no counter. Now we see a couple Mongoose coming out, try to take care of the situation. Zlo actually going into the water for some reason. He must have seen this T2PD and realized that he has absolutely no chance of taking on Ubergeek's base. Ubergeek is also in the water because he was attacked by the Jester. Jester's going to take out the flag first. And on the other side it appears that Ubergeek has dropped off an NG, but it just might get destroyed by this bomber. I'll be curious to see how long Ubergeek can dodge that bomber long enough, maybe before that interceptor can the bomber is successful at killing that NG. On the other side we see a very brave transport that is going to be shot down. And we can see this really long walk from Obergeek. He's going to attack the hydro and the air factory from Zlo, and you see Mongoose are doing a pretty good job against this Mantis force. However, just might be bombed here. A shield coming out from Ubergeek and T2 flak. This will be a very nice combination. Mongoose shield and T2 flak. And you can see Ubergeek is successful at killing off the hydro and is going to take care of the air situation. We see a T1 PD being constructed by Zlo. So very non-standard strategy here from Ubergeek, and now these Mongoose are going to get into some trouble. He did not keep the distance with his Mantis, and the Mantis are going to kill him in close range. Very strange to see this early T2 PD. Very effective. So we actually see T2 mass extractors. So this area of the map for Ubergeek is very safe, so you can turtle a little bit if you wanted to. Now we see Ubergeek actually just took care of this T1 PD himself. In a little bit of trouble against this Jester. He might kill this T2 mass extractor. This is a massive loss for Zlo. And actually Ubergeek doing the right thing and extracting this about 4,000 mass. Excellent play from Ubergeek. More Mongoose coming out from Ubergeek. And a shield. Try to reassemble that team. It looks like the side bases are captured by Zlo. Ubergeek is forced into the water. See T2 land from Zlo, trying to rebuild a little more power. And once again, now the Mongoose are keeping their distance from the Mantis, and a much better situation for Ubergeek. And the shield comes in to help out, so this should be a pretty easy win for the T2. See, these are going to be vets very soon. On the other side we see a Mongoose that's going to start killing Mantis. 3 potential mass points for Ubergeek. Ubergeek at 5,000 health running in the water. No Navy yet from either player, and no T2 air. Let's see. No T2 air from Ubergeek, and absolutely no air from Zlo because this factory was reclaimed by Ubergeek. Ubergeek working on some more T2 mass extractors and T2 power, so a lot of teching in this game. Looks like Ubergeek very aggressive against this island. This is excellent play. He's going to start capturing mass extractors. There'll be a 2v1 fight between NGs. Now Ubergeek with a very brave transport again. He does not have air dominance. He doesn't really care, it seems. Multiple T2 mass extractors from Zlo. He's got T2 power, so he's got a very good eco here. Making hoplites and making interceptors. And it looks like a Mongoose is caught out versus multiple Mantis and will be killed. Zlo is retreating to his side of the map, so Ubergeek is successful as reclaiming all of his mass points. He's got multiple teams of T2 moving up both channels. This T2 will be in a little bit of trouble against this ACU. Also some hoplites for Zlo. But on the other side we got 3 Mongoose and a flak. Might have some success against these Mantis, but hoplites coming in with a stealth field. And now Ubergeek is going to move his ACU back on land, going to get a few more unprotected mass points. We see multiple T2 mass extractors for Zlo actually. We see all of them are T2 now. And we see also T2 mass extractors from 4 T2 mass extractors from Zlo and Ubergeek. Both players very strangely going with a lot of eco and a lot of T2. I guess it's not strange, it's just unusual to see. See some more T2 units here, actually some Wangers as they're amphibious tanks. Do have some very weak torpedoes on them. I'm gonna look for that ACU. Now air is going to be dominated by Ubergeek. The two islands are split 1-1 each. However, this bomber from Zlo is doing a good job. Ubergeek's just hanging out in the water. We see T3 coming out for Zlo, some loyalists. We see T3 air from Ubergeek, so T3 air versus T3 ground. Would be interesting to see what is better. We see multiple flak coming out for Zlo. Flak are not going to be very effective against strat bombers, however. And we see this loyalist is going to do a lot of damage for Zlo, and the second loyalist coming out. So I'll be very curious to see how this ends. See a PD protecting this hydro. Now we see this loyalist runs into the mongoose. Mongoose got to run. Mongoose dies. And now we see the strat bomber going after a first target as a T1 mask extractor. Flies over some T2 flag. Do not want to slow down above the T2 flag. And now we should see. Actually, it looks like that strat is going to run into a cloud of T1. This is an excellent choice here, taking out a T2 power. This is very nice to see. We see an ASF. 13 kills in the strat bomber, more ASF. This is very strange to see T3 air on fins, but that's Ubergeek. 22 kills for that strat bomber now. Looks like Zlo is working on a T3 anti-air. If he can get this done, it's an excellent defense against strat bombers. And only a single T1 NG still working on this. Now strat bomber runs into a whole bunch of T1 planes. We see 53 kills. Still, now it's going to be two NGs working on this anti-air. So it appears that Zlo is very lucky. Elsewhere, we've been missing this fight. We see a brick going into Ubergeek's base. So this is where we see ground dominating versus air. We see a strat bomber killing that brick. This strat bomber from Ubergeek is an extremely good strat bomber. However, this anti-air is finished. Strat bomber has to be very careful. We do see multiple loyalists in the ACU. They can start moving in. We see multiple T2 PD. Actually, it's a lot of T2 power, so it wasn't a big loss. So nice mass chunks from that. And it appears that that AA has been destroyed. But now this T3 force rolls in directly into. This is multiple bricks here from Zlo. And this could be a total loss of a base for Ubergeek. Bricks are extremely good units. Strat bomber is still alive, 62 kills. A lot of anti-air here. This is the worst possible path for that strat bomber. And unfortunately it hits the side of the hill here. Would have been nice to take out both of those with that single pass. I can see Zlo splits them up. One pass is not enough to kill. So it looks like a lot of power loss for this is a very strong brick. And now Ubergeek actually moves in his ACU directly into Ubergeek's Zlo's base. He's still constructing T3 anti-air. He wants to prevent that from being built. And now we actually see the strat bomber successful at killing both of those bricks. However, the ACU is still in the air. This T3 air factory and two mass extractors is all that's left of Ubergeek space. This is really surreal, and for whatever reason, Ubergeek gives up. That's unfortunate. I guess he has absolutely no power. If he had just a little power, he could get a torpedo bomber and kills low in the water. That was a very strange game, but very well played game.